What is a demon? Is it just a creature with horns and hooves, crawling out of some medieval manuscript or Hollywood horror flick? Or is it something more ancient, more primal, something lurking in the shadows of the human mind since the very beginning? What if I told you that the idea of the demon, this dark, malevolent presence whispering doom into the ears of humanity, didn't begin in Christian Europe, or even in the deserts of ancient Judea, but goes back much farther, back to the cradle of civilization itself, back to Mesopotamia, where the first cities rose and the first myths were written in clay? This is the story of the origins of demons, a terrifying journey through the oldest fears of humankind, the evolution of the diabolic through religious thought, and the strange echo of these entities in our modern-day pop culture. So grab your talismans, folks. This one's going to get dark. Let's rewind the clock, way back. We're talking 4,000 years ago, the Bronze Age, Sumer, Akkad, Babylon. This is ancient Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq. It's hot, it's dry, and life is brutal. Disease, famine, floods, bandits, kings, taxes, you name it. People were constantly looking for answers to suffering that seemed random and merciless. Enter the demons. But here's the thing. In Mesopotamian religion, demons weren't exactly the satanic caricatures we think of today. They weren't all evil, and they weren't always working against the gods. In fact, they worked for them. Some were divine enforcers, others were just chaotic neutral, doing their thing, messing with humans when the mood struck. Take Lamashtu, for instance. She's one of the oldest named demon figures we have, a monstrous female spirit who preys on pregnant women and infants. Think about what that says about the fears of the time. In a world where childbirth was extremely dangerous and infant mortality was heartbreakingly high, a demon like Lamashtu becomes a personification of very real terror. Or consider Pazuzu, king of the demons of the wind. He's got the body of a man, talons of a bird, a scorpion's tail, and a face only a mother could love, if that mother was a Lovecraftian horror. And yet, Pazuzu wasn't just evil. He was invoked to ward off Lamashtu. You'd put his image on amulets to protect your family. So, in a weird twist, one demon protects you from another. How human is that? Fighting fire with fire, a dark force used to push back an even darker one. Mesopotamians didn't see their gods or spirits in stark moral binaries. The divine realm was a spectrum, a supernatural ecosystem of beings with their own motives, temperaments, and rivalries. And humanity was just trying to survive in the crossfire. Demons were part of the explanation. Why did crops fail? Why did my child die in the night? Why did I suddenly go mad? A demon. It's not your fault, or the gods. It's these meddling spirits. And crucially, demons could be fought. There were rituals, exorcisms, protective charms. You weren't powerless, not entirely. The seeds of a cosmic war, not just between good and evil, but between order and chaos, were being planted right there in the soil of the Fertile Crescent. Now let's fast forward, move west. The Hebrews, inheritors of many Mesopotamian ideas, begin reshaping their own cosmology during the Babylonian exile, around the 6th century BCE. And what's happening here is critical. Because the Israelites aren't just absorbing Babylonian demonology, they're reacting to it, modifying it, streamlining it into something new, something that would later become foundational to Christianity. In early Jewish thought, demons are mostly absent. The Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, it's not overflowing with devils and imps. You get figures like Lilith, who may have been based on Mesopotamian female night demons, but even that is vague, shrouded in centuries of reinterpretation. The word Satan in the early texts doesn't mean a cosmic evil overlord. It just means adversary, sometimes even working for God, testing humans. But by the time we reach the Second Temple period, roughly 500 BCE to 70 CE, the demonology is intensifying. Why? Well, let's speculate. The Jewish people have endured exile, conquest, and cultural pressure from empires like Persia, Greece, and Rome. Their theology is evolving under that stress. The idea of a single, omnibenevolent God starts to require a cosmic counterpart. You can't pin evil on Yahweh anymore, not directly. So where does it go? Enter fallen angels. A reinterpretation of old myths, now with a dualistic bent. Books like 1 Enoch, popular among some Jewish sects of the time but later excluded from the biblical canon, describe angels who rebel, come to earth, have sex with women, and sire monsters. This is where demons start becoming hellspawn, perversions of divine order. The Persian influence is massive here. Zoroastrianism, the ancient religion of Iran, had a clear cosmic dualism, Ahura Mazda versus Angra Mainyu, good versus evil, light versus darkness. That idea seeps into Jewish thought during the exile, and by the time Christianity emerges, it explodes. Because Christianity isn't just another Jewish sect, it's a theological revolution. And demons are a big part of that revolution. In the Christian Gospels, Jesus isn't just preaching and performing miracles, he's a demon slayer. Again and again we see him casting out spirits. This is spiritual warfare. And it's not abstract. These demons speak, they beg, they recognize him. Have you come to torment us before the time? They cry. That's chilling. There's a war on, and the demons know they're on the losing side. As Christianity spreads and institutionalizes, this demonology hardens. By the time you get to the medieval church, demons are everywhere, behind every heresy, every illness, every temptation. Satan, who once was a kind of celestial prosecutor, is now the great adversary, the fallen angel who leads a host of rebel spirits in a campaign to damn human souls. And it's here that demons start taking on the classic characteristics we now associate with them. The horns, the goat legs, the sulphurous breath. Why? Because the church is now in a propaganda war. It needs a visual vocabulary for evil, and it borrows liberally from pagan gods, folklore, and even earlier Mesopotamian monsters. So fast forward one more time. You're sitting in a dark theater in the 1970s watching The Exorcist. A girl levitates, her voice deepens, her body contorts. A priest battles a force that claims to be the demon Pazuzu. Wait, Pazuzu? From ancient Mesopotamia? Yup. That same desert demon that once warded off Lamashtu is now back, and this time, he's the villain. That's the strange loop we've entered in modern pop culture. Ancient symbols reappear, stripped of their original context, reborn in horror films, video games, novels, and even toys. Demons are now monsters, entertainment, but also something more, because we're still fascinated by them, aren't we? Deep down, something about the idea of a demon still grabs us. Maybe because it's ancient. Maybe because it speaks to the part of us that still wonders. What if there are forces out there, beyond reason? What if evil isn't just human? Or maybe it's because the demon isn't out there at all. Think about how modern writers and filmmakers depict demons. Often they're not invading from another dimension. They're already inside us. They corrupt us from within. Our thoughts, our desires, our memories. Demons have become psychological, internalized, Jungian, a metaphor for addiction, trauma, madness. In that sense, we've come full circle, because the first demons, thousands of years ago, weren't mere villains in a cosmic drama. They were human fears, given names and faces. They were how ancient people made sense of the unexplainable, why someone would wake screaming in the night, or why a child died without reason. They were symbols of pain, of chaos, of suffering, and we're still trying to explain those things. still fighting shadows in the dark. So what are demons, really? Are they real entities, as some still believe? Are they ancient relics of forgotten religions? Are they symbols of our own worst instincts? Or maybe, just maybe, they're all of the above, because whether we call them Asaku or Satan, Pazuzu or Lucifer, what demons really represent is our need to personify evil, to give it a face, a name, a voice, and maybe, just maybe, a way to fight it. Because if evil is just life, random, senseless, meaningless, that's terrifying. But if evil has a shape, if it has a name, then maybe, just maybe, we can stand against it. We've been doing that since the dawn of civilization, and the demons, they've been with us the whole way. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more. Until then, stay curious.